Hi guys, Danny here, and welcome to the part 3 of my mod spotlight of Rotarycraft by Reika. In this part, I'll be going through all the production machines and the processing machines, so without delay, let's get started. We start off with this, the fermenter. The fermenter is very important because you make ethanol in the fermenter. To start producing ethanol, first you need to make yeast, which you make by placing sugar on the top slot and dirt on the bottom, as I'll show now. Take out some sugar, saplings, water and dirt. You can also pump water directly into the fermenter, but I'm just going to use buckets. As you can see, it's full now. As you can see, the machine is now on and it's producing yeast. If we go here, it says that the machine is very temperature sensitive, and a very high or a very low temperature will slow it down or stop it altogether, which we can see from this bar here. We're in a desert, so naturally it's gonna be a bit hotter here. So the production is slightly slowed down, but as you can see, the yeast is still being made. Also, the water is slowly being drained, a tiny amount at a time, but still going strong. In this part, I'll be focusing mostly on the machines themselves and not the best engines to power them with, and as you'll see later on, I'll be using less and less effective engines to power up the machines. So after we have the yeast, next we can make the ethanol. What you need to do is put the yeast on the top slot here and put any sort of plant matter down here. As you can see, I put the sapling in and I got back one of these sludge. I can also put in grass and then I get back 2 sludge, or leaves, which also gives 2 sludge. As you can see, the yeast is not always used up, but it will be used up eventually. After that, you go to the furnace and just throw in the sludge, and then it'll start making the ethanol, and then you can start powering up your machines. And there you go. Next we have the fractionation unit. The fractionation unit is very important because with it you can start producing jet fuel. You need a few items to get started, specifically tar sand, blaze powder, magma cream, netherrack. You also need a single gas tier which won't be used up like the others. You also need some coal and ethanol crystals. We go here, put everything in, and as you can see, jet fuel is starting to be made. And there you go, jet fuel is made. Next we have this, the Bedrock Breaker. As its name suggests, it breaks bedrock and gives this, which is bedrock dust. You can use the bedrock dust to make yourself bedrock ingots, which is made like so, around a steel ingot. You can then use the bedrock ingots to make yourself a variety of tools and armor. They all have infinite durability, they are all stronger than diamond, and some of them come with enchants, like the pickaxe comes with silk touch, helmet comes with projectile protection, and so on. So here we have the Bedrock Breaker. I'm just powering it with an industrial coil. Just flip the lever and we can see that it's starting to break down the bedrock. When it's completely broken down, it'll throw out the bedrock dust. So yeah, I'll see you again after it's finished. As we can see, it's nearly completely broken down, and after it's finished with that tiny slice, it should give us the dust. And there you have it. Red bedrock dust. Next we have the boring machine. The boring machine is quite interesting, as you can use it to dig long tunnels in the direction that the machine is facing. This being the machine face, it'll keep digging indefinitely in that direction. We open up its GUI and we see this. With this we can control the area of the drill head. As you can see here, I have the drops in on, and I have a chest just beside it, so all the drops will go there. I just simply need to click a button, this square here being the face here. After I hit that, a mining pipe will show up. If we check the chest, there's the cobblestone. The shape of the drill will be according to the shape of this, so if I picked this one as well, there we have it. The second one came up as well. And now, if I select all of them, there we go. It's all being drilled. Now the machine will go on indefinitely until you tell it to stop. And like you saw, if I select a different button to pick a different area, the machine will only drill the next area from the next position. If you hit the reset position button here, it'll start from the beginning. Another interesting thing about the boring machine is that if the machine, or rather the mining pipes here, if it faces some loose material that can collapse, it will harden the material just over it. And we'll see an example of it just in a couple of seconds. As the mining pipes drill away the gravel here, it will convert the gravel up here into something else. And there we go. The gravel was turned into just normal stone, and the machine will keep going for as long as I keep supplying it with power, because I have it hooked up to an AC engine. It'll be forever until it stops. I can also go here and break the mining pipes, but it will just continue from where it was before and keep going indefinitely. If I go over here to the chest, I can see all of the material that the boring machine drilled out for me. As you see here, it started from just after where I broke it, and this will keep going on and on. So yeah, supply it with power and the boring machine will keep drilling in a certain direction forever. Next we have this, a pump. Its job is pretty simple. It can pump any liquid and send it to adjacent pipes, into a container or into other machines. Right now, to power the pump, I'm using this steam engine. Just give it a bit of water and the machine will start. And as you can see, the pump is randomly taking blocks from around this infinite water source and pumping it through the pipe here. Then the water, or whatever liquid you're pumping, will be transferred to the pipes, and the pipes can hold a very large amount of water. As you can see, this pipe contains around 24 meter cubed of water. This one has 0.012. If I connect the two, we can see that the water starts evening out. And there we go, we can see that the water moved to the pipes here as well. So yeah, it's really handy if you want to power other machines, which I will be doing in a second, or just want to collect it in a drum or a tank or whatever you want. If you are going to be using the pump, using a steam engine might be quite efficient, as the water gets pumped around the pipe. It also goes into the steam engine automatically, and yeah, it keeps producing power as long as the water is being fed into it by the pump. Another important factor is this. If we see down there, we can see how much water the pipe contains, and we can also see a certain amount of pressure. Just here it's 109 kilopascals. If I go over here, it's 133 kilopascals. Basically, some machines require higher amount of pressure, and if you use the pump you can do exactly that. You can increase the amount of pressure in the pipe. 115 there, 118, and so on and so forth. The next machine is also quite self-explanatory, the obsidian factory. If you pump lava and water into it, it makes obsidian. As you see here, lava is being pumped there, and if I connect a water pipe like so, the water is being pumped up from this infinite water source using the pump around the pipe into the obsidian factory, as we can see here. Now if I just hit this lever, we can see that the obsidian is being made slowly, and now it's picking up speed until it uses up all the lava. And there you go, that's the obsidian factory. A thing to note is that if you leave the lava in the machine for too long, the machine will overheat and will melt. So yeah, keep that in mind while you're using the obsidian factory. And if you look here, the boring machine has continued and the mining pipe have extended quite a distance. And like I said, the pipes will keep going on and on and on. Next we have the Rockmelter. As the name suggests, you can use the machine to melt rocks into lava. The machine can melt netherrack or cobble into lava. It produces the most amount of lava with netherrack. As you can see that the machine is pretty much flying, and the tank is full, the Rockmelter is full, and the pipe is full, and all I'm using to power it is an AC engine. It can also melt cobblestone. Obviously it'll take a bit more time. And turn it into lava. Next we have the Point Aggregator. You can use the Point Aggregator to make water out of the air. For the Point Aggregator to work, it needs to be cooled down. When I first put this down into the world, it wasn't working, but then I put in this cooling fin, which cooled down the machine, and then if I just hit this lever there, it should start spinning. If I check it, 37 degrees, it should start producing water. And there you go, water is flowing in the pipes. It's as simple as that. You hook on an engine to the Point Aggregator, cool it down, and it starts producing water. Obviously it's not as effective as the pump, but it is still pretty useful, as it makes water just without water source box nearby. Next we have the grinder. The grinder is quite a useful machine, as you can use it to grind stone into cobble, cobble into gravel, gravel into sand, and more importantly you can use it to grind canola seeds into lubricant. As you can see here, This is one of the machines that requires a higher speed, so you'll need to adjust the power input accordingly. I'll just take in some stone here, canola seeds. I throw in a stone there. We can see that it slowly goes up until it is fully made. It's into cobble. And there you go. Alternatively, I can also put in some canola seeds. We can see it being filled up there. If I throw in a good amount of canola seeds, it will keep producing a lot of lubricant. And lubricant is quite useful. If you saw my last couple of videos, you need it for the gearboxes, otherwise the gearboxes will wear down and stop working efficiently. So it's good to have the grinder producing a good amount of canola seeds. Hook up some pipes directly from the grinder into the gearboxes so the machines can work smoothly. As you can see, 24 out of 4,000. And so on. Next we move on to quite an interesting and useful machine, the extractor. The extractor works like the different pulverizers and the macerators from the other mods, as in you can put ores in there and it increases the amount of ingots that you can make from the ore. However, unlike the machines from the other mods, this works a tiny bit differently. First, the extractor turns the ore into dust, then into slurry, then into a liquid solution, and then into flakes. What's interesting about all that is the extractor has a 50% chance of doubling the output at every stage, and then there is 4 stages, and there's a chance you get it doubled at every stage. You can do the maths. If we go here, we can see that the extractor has a very strange power requirement. All the different stages require a different amount of power, different amount of torque, speed, and 2 stages also require water supply. If I go down here, flick the switch, if I just throw in some iron ore there, you can see that it got turned into iron ore dust, then into iron ore slurry, and into ore flakes and aluminium. Yes, there is also a small chance that the extractor produces extra dust of different metals from different kinds of ores. If I put in some more iron ores in there, I put in 7, I got 7. As you see there, it got doubled there, got doubled again, double there, we got aluminium again, we weren't so lucky this time. And as you can see, I started off with 7, but now I have more than 12 and more coming in the way. So if you use the extractor, you can not just double but quadruple, octuple your ore and ingot supply. Next we move on to the pulse jet furnace. The pulse jet furnace, like the name implies, is just a higher tier furnace. While it doesn't smelt ordinary recipes, as in it doesn't turn normal ores into ingots, it will melt obsidian into a special glass, scrap metals back into ingots, and you can also make steel more efficiently. As it says it here, it will get very hot and everything around it will catch on fire. It's why I have this cobblestone wall around it. I had the normal wooden fences around it, and it caught on fire multiple times and burned everything down. So if I throw in some scrap, as you see, it's starting to produce steel. Just take out the scrap, put in some obsidian. As we see, it's making blast glass. Let's see if I destroy the water. It has an internal buffer, but when the water runs out, everything will start catching on fire, which we will see in a second. As we see, without the water pipe, the internal buffer of the jet furnace is going down and is running out of water quickly. The temperature has peaked around 881, and if I stand on top of it, I'll catch fire immediately. Or just don't jump on top of it. As we can see, the furnace is red hot. It's usually a greyish colour, and like I mentioned, the jet furnace uses a lot of fuel. As you can see, it's completely drained this drum, and now it's just spitting out fire essentially because the water has run out, and if there was any flammable material around it, it would catch fire immediately. For example, and there you go, it exploded. And that's why you never let the machine overheat. Created quite a wide crater. Next we have the compactor. The compactor is able to compress coal into anthracite, then prismane, then lancelite, and finally diamond. Each stage requires a lot of power, a lot of torque, and a lot of pressure and heat, and so on. Just a small note, if you go beyond the max pressure or max temperature, it will explode. The explosion will not be quite as fiery at the post-jet furnace, but it'll still be quite big. As you can see here, I had to replace all these blocks with cobble, and that's because everything exploded. As we see here, the pressure is going up slowly and the heat is going up slowly. I just have a lava block just underneath the compactor, and that raises the temperature, and I just have this industrial coil that's feeding into the compactor, and the pressure is built by applying higher torques. If I go down here, I have a very high torque here. When I put this to 4000 instead of 400, because I was very impatient, this thing exploded, and so I have put it lower now. And if we wait for a tiny bit, it should start working. Let's check back on the compactor. It's just over 500,000 kilopascals. We need 550, and it's nearly 550. Let's wait a little bit longer until the compactor starts working, and hopefully turning these coal into diamond. It's nearly 550, and there we go. We can see that the compactor has started turning the coals into anthracite. I throw in 2 anthracites. Doesn't work. I assume you need 4. Let's see. Stick in 2 more. Starts working. To prismane, and then after that 2 more prismane. What should come after that is keeping it ready. And there you go. And then it turns the 4 launch lights into 2 diamond. Next we have the steel purifier. I was talking a little bit about it in the last part. Basically with this machine you can turn steel from other mods into steel usable in Rotarycraft. Like the other machine, you also need a lava block underneath it because it needs a temperature of 600 degrees Celsius. As you can see, like the blast furnace, it requires gunpowder, and if I just put in the gunpowder there, I can convert steel from other mods into steel usable in this mod, which would be the HSLA steel. Unfortunately, I don't have any steel ingots from other mods that works with this machine. For the steel ingots to be converted, it has to be listed under steel in the ore dictionary, and if you just put it in there, it should produce the HSLA steel. Next we have the fuel enhancer. The fuel enhancer, it works a bit differently as it depends on a material from a different mod, specifically Buildcraft. If you pump fuel from Buildcraft into it, it decreases it 8-fold, and then it produces jet fuel. All I need to do is take some fuel, pump it in there. Take note that it does require the netherrack dust, blaze powder, tar sand, and magma cream. It doesn't need the coal and ethanol, however, and it should produce jet fuel, as you can see in the tank. Next we have the magnetizing unit. With the magnetizing unit you can magnetize the shaft cores, which is necessary to work the AC engine. And as we see, if we put the shaft core inside the magnetizing unit, it's slowly being magnetized. As you can see, it's magnetized to 3.522 milliteslas, 0.5, and it will keep going on and on until it's fully magnetized. Next we have the friction heater. The friction heater is quite a useful machine, as you can do the following. If we take a furnace and stick it in front of the friction heater, you can see it's starting to produce sparks, and the bit at the front is starting to change color. And now we can use the furnace without supplying it with coal or wood or charcoal or whatever. It also speeds up the furnace, you can see here. It's producing iron ingots from these iron ore really quickly, really fast. Keep in mind that if you attach the furnace to the friction heater for too long, the furnace will melt down. But as you can see here, it smelts the ore into ingots incredibly fast. Of course, this being just a normal furnace, you can make it very easily with just a bit of cobblestone. So regardless, it makes the friction heater very useful. Next we have the lava smeltery. With the lava smeltery, we can smelt 18 items at the same time. However, the tank has to be full of lava and it has to be around 400 degrees. If you see here, that is just over 400 degrees, and it actually uses quite a bit of lava to keep itself up around 400 degrees. It would be quite smart to hook up a melter directly to a lava smeltery to keep it hot enough. So next we just fill this up. You can see the progress. Maybe up there. And there you go. It smelted all of those items at the same time. And yeah, so the lava smelter is very useful in that regard. So that's it for all the production and processing machines. In the next part we'll be looking at even more machines. So yeah, leave a like if you like the video, and thanks for watching.